Death has come to your little town, Sheriff.
Have you ever felt a knife cut through human flesh and scrape the bone beneath?
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Be my victim.
You are all my children now.
Hello, my name is Austin Torres, and welcome to the Would You Die podcast, the show where we talk about our favorite horror monsters and villains. Today, I am joined by horror content creator. She makes videos for her YouTube channel, Sweet and Spooky, and she is a Vincent Price-loving Latina queen. Please welcome my friend, Selis.
Hello. Oh, that was such a cute intro. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. I mean, as you are a horror content creator yourself, you know, when you have someone on your channel or your show, you want to gas them up. You want to hype them up, you know?
Of course. Of course. Part of the job, isn't it?
It's part of the job. And then at the same time, my personal philosophy is I don't want to talk to people I myself am not a fan of, if that makes sense.
Valid. I agree.
Like, if you're on my show, I consider you a friend, or I think what you make is super cool. Usually it's both.
Yeah, usually yes.
So welcome to the show. And you have a great topic for us today.
I do.
You are introducing us and myself to the wonderful horror subgenre that is Giallo.
Yes, Jello.
I'm super excited with that. But before we dive right in, I gotta ask, how did you become a horror fan? What was your kind of like your horror origin story?
I actually became a horror fan by accident. I actually told this story on Sledgehammer Horror's channel. Kind of my first horror movie was by mistake. My aunt, I had asked her, I don't remember how old I was, but I was pretty young. I asked her to buy me for Christmas. I asked her to buy me the Chucky Rugrats movie, but I kept saying, "Oh, I want the Chucky movie." It was like a Rugrats movie where I guess the focus was Chucky. I don't remember which movie it was. It might have been the one that's like about him and his mom or something. And she went to this like video store, I guess, and I guess she must have said, "Oh, like I want to buy the Chucky movie," to whoever was working there. So she gives me the movie. I think nothing of it. I put it in the VCR, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, these like commercials are really long. Like this is taking so long. Where are the Rugrats? And then all of a sudden I just see like this woman picking up this doll, and it was like the scene where Chucky's like, "You stupid bitch," you know? And I was like, oh my God. And his face was so scary. I was like, oh my God, I don't know where the Rugrats are. And like, I literally cried, and I just like went under the blanket and like waited for like my mom to get home because I was too scared to stop it. But yeah, and I was scared of Chucky for so long. But then like a little bit after that, I was always kind of like curious, you know, like I was scared, but like curious.
Yeah,
So
no, I get that.
so like a little bit after that, I started to watch kind of like more PG-13 horror movies. Like I remember I went to go see Prom Night in the theater, like the remake. And I was like, I can do this horror shit. Like this is it. This is my jam. I can do it. And then I finally like watched Chucky, and I was like, I'm not scared of him anymore. And then I was like obsessed with him. And that's really how it started.
I love that story because I got a little bit of a parallel with that with myself, not with Chucky though, with a different slasher icon. But I gotta say, you mentioned Sledgehammer Horror. I love
Mhm.
Ken. Ken is
Same.
a friend, and shout out to you, Ken. I got to do his show too, and we talked about Jurassic Park, and we bonded because we're both the Detroiters. So if you're listening, Ken, that's your shout out. My horror journey parallel is kind of similar to yours, where I had that slasher villain that he terrified me, but I was kind
Mhm.
of curious.
Yeah.
Like, and for me, it was Michael Myers.
Yay. I love
He
it.
he scared me so much because I swear to God, when my family had cable, so I'd growing up, and it's October, so I feel like they always had a Halloween movie on. And
Mhm.
Michael Myers was always around. And I'm like, oh my God, he's so scary. Why is this? I'm 6. Why is this on the TV?
Yes, actually, that's so funny because when I was younger, there was always like Halloween playing because my brother used to love those movies and he's older than me. And I remember the first Halloween movie I watched was Halloween 4, and I cried because I'm seeing like little Danielle Harris. She's like my size, and she's like running and crying, and like, I'm like, no, they can't kill her. She's just a little girl.
She's really good too.
She's so good.
Like
Yeah.
you put on that movie now and you're like, no, you can't kill her. She's a little girl. Like she's selling it. You could and it's just
For
like,
sure.
yeah, she's great in that. It was never the original Halloween because I remember watching that for the first time while I was in high school after I had watched Scream for the first time. Why that's such a vivid memory, I don't know. It was always like 4 or 5, I feel like, was always on TV.
Oh, wow.
And the one with Busta Rhymes.
Yeah, Resurrection. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was always on. You're right.
I feel like it's still always on. I feel like I watch it once a year. I never choose to watch it. I just put it on AMC and it's like, well, it's making me watch Resurrection. And honestly, I'm not going to change the channel.
It's fun, you know? It's not good, but it's fun.
I could definitely watch something more boring. So
Valid.
I'll give it that. What kind of got you into creating horror content?
I got into it during lockdown. I was like, I just really need a place where I can like speak really passionately about movies and about like this genre. Because I kind of felt like I always loved movies and horror, like to an unhealthy degree where I was like obsessed. Like everything, like in my room, all posters, everything. I have to go to the cons, like I have to do everything. I want to do an analysis of this and this. And I was like, you know what? I think I want to find like a community of people where I can like share this with, and I can also meet other fans. And then I'll like, make opportunities for myself.
That's awesome. And still going strong too.
Thank you.
Speaking of still going strong, you've done a lot of videos on this very topic, and you actually have a really well-made video that you did, I want to say a year ago,
Yes.
which is an intro to Giallo.
Yes.
And I've never seen a Giallo movie before, talking to you about getting this episode made. So Giallo is completely new to me. My only experience with Giallo was when I was little, like 9, I think. I was at my padrino's house on Halloween and he was watching Bravo's 100 Scariest Movie Moments, which is
Oh, cool.
like a niche kind of, you if listeners, if you know, you know.
I know.
All right, good.
Yeah.
And it introduced me to so many things that traumatized me that night. But what sticks in my head most vividly was when they were talking about Suspiria.
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't seen Suspiria, and low key, I kind of don't want to. I'm still
Oh,
kind
you're
of scared of
scared?
it. Yeah. It's freaky.
It is. Actually, it's so funny. When I did my video, I put Suspiria on there as like an introduction. And I got a lot of comments from people. I feel like I have to address. I got a lot of comments from people that were like, it's not a Giallo. Like, so it shouldn't be on the list. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm looking it up. It's like popping up, whatever. And it's technically not a Giallo because it's not a whodunit. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like a
Yeah.
mystery of like whodunit. It's more of a supernatural movie, but it still has like so much Giallo elements that, and it's made by a Giallo creator, like a Giallo director. So it's like, give me a break. It can toe the line. Like it counts.
And I know it still has like that insane music by Goblin.
Yes, it does. It very much
So
has like a Giallo score. So
I would like to say I would consider it, but considering the fact that I still haven't seen it and I
yeah.
don't plan on seeing it,
One day you'll watch it.
one day I'll put my big boy pants on and I'll conquer that beast, but it's not today. I'll watch literally anything else. I have seen the remake.
Okay. Did it scare you?
No, it disturbed me, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought it was pretty good. I didn't finish it though. I feel
It's so
bad.
long. It's
I
so
fell asleep.
long.
I fell asleep and I feel like I have to watch the last 20 or 15 minutes. I feel like I watched most of it.
Yeah.
I don't know how it ends, and it's so long. The thing is, it's so long.
It is though.
I like long movies. It's just you have to plan your day around it,
You do.
which is fine, but like a lot of times I just want to put on an 80, 90 minute um
Right. Nice,
movie.
simple. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm gonna stay awake the whole time. We work, you know?
Oh, we've got jobs. Yeah, no, I know. I
Right.
feel you.
And then it was my fault. I put the movie on after 10 o'clock and it's already a long one.
Exactly. I feel that. I get
But
that.
I really liked what I saw. So
Nice.
it's just something about me and not being able to finish Suspiria in any form.
I feel like you would easily finish the original. Like the original is long, but like
Mhm.
there's like no way I feel like you could fall asleep because it's so visually pretty. You know what I mean? It like literally
Yeah.
is like eye candy almost.
I think that's a big part of what freaked me out when I was a kid and that
Yeah.
came on because it's so surreal.
Yeah, for sure. It has surreal lighting. Yeah.
And I think you said it in your intro to Giallo video. Giallo films tend to be very dreamlike,
Yes.
but with Suspiria, I've had nightmares that look like Suspiria.
Oh, okay. So I get why you're dodging it.
Yeah.
That's valid though.
I honestly thought the same thing was going to happen with Deep Red, which we'll talk at length about, but no, I slept like a baby. Deep Red's fucking awesome, by the way.
It's so good. Oh my God. Quintessential Jalo.
So yeah, we've been talking about Giallo already, but the listeners are like, what if I don't know what Giallo is? This episode is intro to Giallo, so do you want to kind of walk us through some of the elements?
Yes. A Giallo is an Italian slasher film. It is usually a whodunit film. The word giallo means yellow in Italian. So it actually like doesn't really mean anything. It just means yellow. The key things to knowing you're watching a giallo is it usually has bad dubbing. And this is because most of the time there were actors on the set that all spoke different languages. Sometimes they would have an actor that was American that spoke English. They'd have a French actor that only spoke French. So they thought it was best to just like dub the whole thing. So usually when you're watching a giallo, it's a dub. It's not a good dub, but you get past it because everything else is beautiful. There's always really dramatic zoom in shots. There's very like surrealist lighting. There's always like gorgeous women in very extravagant, fashionable outfits. And we always have a fashionable killer, usually with black gloves. If you've seen Blood and Black Lace, that's usually like your stereotypical Giallo killer. There are some exceptions though where the Giallo killer does not look like that. Like in the case of like sleazier Jolly, which are like the more like dirty ones that are low budget. Sometimes the killer like looks ridiculous. Like there's one that's in like a swim suit and he has like a motorcycle like helmet on, and that's in Strip Nude for Your Killer. Who knows why, but doesn't matter because it's still entertaining.
If that's the killer's vibe, that's his vibe, you know?
Exactly. That's his vibe.
That's awesome. And you had me watch 3 films so I can be educated. And I watched all 3. I was very proud of myself.
I'm
I
so
watched
happy you
all 3.
did.
It helped that they were shorter.
Good.
Like I watched 2 of them in the time I would have watched the Suspiria remake.
Good. I don't remember how long Deep Red is. There's 2 different cuts. I don't know which cut you watched. I'm assuming you watched the shorter one though, right?
I watched whatever was on Shudder.
Okay, yeah.
I
Because
watched
there's an Italian cut and then there's like an American cut, and I think the one on Shudder is the American. cut?
It was dubbed.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
was dubbed. Yeah, the three films you had me watch were The Strange Vice of Mrs. Wardh, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
There's an H, and I'm
For no
like,
reason.
I hope the H is silent because I don't know how the fuck to say that.
There's a fun little reason for that, actually.
Wait, what is it?
So, at the time of the release of The Strange Vice of Mrs. Wardh, wherever they shot the movie, I forget, but wherever they shot the movie, there was actually like a woman named Mrs. Wardh with like just the D at the end.
Mhm.
And she like I think she had like said something about like she didn't want it to be associated with her, and so they put the H at the end and changed it.
That is so funny.
Isn't it?
That
It's
is so
crazy.
funny, especially because they could have put the H in between the W and the A, and no one would have like said anything.
I know, it's so crazy. I read that and I was like, could this be true? I don't know.
That's okay. Okay. I- that seems so specific. Who would
It
make that
is.
up? It
It's
has to be
true.
true.
It
It
has to
has to
be.
be true. But yeah, that was the first film, The Strange Vice of Mrs. Wardh. Then you suggested The Red Queen Kills Seven Times,
Yes.
which that's a movie. I'm excited to talk about that. They're all like insane. Insane in
They
the
are.
membrane, as one might say. And the third one, which we've talked about a little bit already, was Deep Red.
Yes.
If you guys are interested in watching foreign horror, I just watched all three of these very recently. I like them all because I feel like a lot of people, when it comes to like when they start dipping their toes into foreign horror, I feel like it's Suspiria, it's Ringu,
Mm-hmm.
and Godzilla. I feel like those are the ones that pretty much every horror fan has seen. And I know there are more. But I feel like if I see like the average horror fan, they've seen those three.
Yes.
But yeah, I really enjoyed all three. Which one do you want to like dive into first?
That's a good question. They're all like kind of different. I mean, I feel like since Deep Red is like quintessential Giallo, I guess we should dive into that one first because it has everything that like a Giallo is.
I
They all do, but like this one is like, it's kind of like the start of it.
of the trio, I gotta say Deep Red is my favorite.
Yay! That's good.
I really enjoyed it. I just have like one, and this is coming from someone who watched it last night. Um, I just have like one major complaint, and I put on my letterbox 4 stars. So I don't have a lot of complaints with this movie. I thought it was really, really good, but I low key kind of hate the main character.
Oh, that's fine. I've heard people say that.
The girl journalist who like wants to
Daria
help and
Nicolodi.
yeah, she's so much more interesting. I'd much rather be following her.
She is, yeah. She's a very good actress. She's actually she was Dario Argento's wife.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought she was awesome. I would have much rather follow her for the rest of the movie than the pianist. Like he
Yeah.
wasn't bad. I don't think it was a bad performance.
No, no, but the character is kind of he's a little bit unlikable, I would say.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's fine. Not every protagonist needs to be likable.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just when you have this insanely likable character
Right.
and you're following the one that's not her, I'm just like, what are we doing here? But no, I really enjoyed it. I think a movie's very strong if I can actively dislike the main character and
For
still
sure.
like easily give it like 4 stars.
That's a great rating. Yeah, 4 stars is good.
What about Deep Red? Because I'm assuming it's one of your favorites in
It's
the
up there,
Giallo
yeah. Yes.
canon. Yeah. What sets it apart from the rest to you?
I think Deep Red. So actually, at first, when I first saw it, I didn't really like it. I first saw it and I was like, oh my God, this is so boring. And I was falling asleep. But it was also one of those situations where I put it on way too late and like
Yeah.
I really wasn't invested enough. I actually went to go see it at Lincoln Center, and it was like an evening with Dario Argento, and he like came out and he like introduced the movie. He spoke a little bit about it, and then we watched it in this big like screen with a bunch of like Giallo fans, and it was the Italian cut. So like the cut that Dario wanted. So it was very long. Like too long. And I was like, this is incredible. Like, I don't know why I didn't like it before. But I guess like why I really love it is because it feels like, to me, it was really like the start. I know it's not the first Giallo. I don't know what technically is the first Giallo, but I feel like this was like the first of its kind from Argento, where you're like, oh, this is crazy. Look at how the blood looks. It kind of looks like paint and it looks ridiculous, but it's so pretty to look at. And also all of the kills in the movie are so creative. Like I feel like the one like window one with the woman with the short blonde hair is like, it just sticks with you, the image. It's like, it's horrifying, but it's also like done so beautifully. You kind of like admire it almost. You're like, whoa, that's like crazy. That takes like a master, I think, to come up with like making death look like pretty, which sounds crazy. But I swear I'm coming from like an artsy place.
It's horror fans listening to this. We
you got me.
If you're not a horror fan and you're listening to this, I'm very confused and very impressed.
Right. Like you're this far in.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a while now, so you guys know what we're talking about by now.
Valid. Yeah, it was just something about it that really like stuck with me, and I love it. I love like the killer reveal, which I don't know if we should spoil. Maybe we shouldn't spoil.
I don't think so. No, because I really
we want people to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
we don't
no
want to
spoilers,
spoil.
guys. No spoilers.
But the killer reveal is great. Like it had me shocked. I was like, what? And I don't know. I feel like for that time, that killer reveal specifically for that time, I was like, slay,
I was like, what?
Yeah.
I actually rewound it a little bit because I thought maybe I missed something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh no, I was paying attention. That we just went there. I'm like,
yeah,
that's awesome. and then the ending, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I know. It's intense.
And I think this applies to all three films that we're talking about today, but especially Deep Red. I think what I picked up on with trends in Giallo is, as you were to your point earlier on how death is like, it's striking imagery. It's beautiful in a macabre sort of sense.
Mm-hmm.
It is really violent.
It is. That's true.
And as someone who like devours slasher movies and monster movies, I can handle blood and guts now. I'm normally like, the more blood, the better. But it's just something about the way, it might be maybe just an Italian filmmaker sensibility, but they don't pull any punches.
That's true. That's very true. That's also why I like it, though.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah, they go for it. Dario Argento is really good at like making like really creative kills, but also like kind of making them like actual ways that somebody could like get hurt or die. Like somebody could fall out of a window and die.
Yeah.
Like
right. And it's not like, maybe it's because like we watch so many American horror films, especially slashers, maybe our cultural sensibilities are more in tune with it. But for some reason, when an Italian makes a creative kill like that, it just hits a little harder.
Yeah.
We're horror fans. We've seen some nasty shit.
It's true.
But I just feel like there was an intensity to Deep Red, and the other two you showed me where I was like, damn, that hurt.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of intensity in most Jolly, I think. Different levels of intensity for sure.
I don't want to spoil it. All I'm gonna say is there's a kill in Deep Red where this dude is just being bashed all over the place.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's not like
intense.
that's the thing. These are so intense. It's not the most violent scene
Hmm.
I've ever seen, but it just comes at you with an intensity that a seasoned horror vet like us, we're
Right.
like, damn.
Right. Part of the charm.
I I really I really enjoyed that aspect, and I think they kind of get tone right. Because like you could argue that if you guys have seen Deep Red, then you know the kill we're talking about, where he's just bashed all over the room. You do the same thing to Bruce Campbell in Evil Dead 2, and it's funny.
Right.
But
Yeah, it's crazy.
so that kind of like shows how important tone is to a movie. I mean, those two, Dario Argento, Sam Raimi, are both legends. They're trying to do different things.
Hmm.
But that was just like the first comparison I could think of. Also, look at me coming in with the hot takes. Dario Argento and Sam Raimi are good filmmakers.
The hot take.
I'm really setting off discourse now.
You really are, yeah. They're gonna come for you.
I really enjoyed Deep Red. There's just imagery that I'm still like thinking about. For
Yeah.
me, I think it's the strongest of the films. Like I said, the only thing I personally would change is I'd follow Gianna instead of the pianist.
Yeah.
But she rules. I wanted to see more of her.
I could see that working. I could see that making me liking it a little bit more. Yeah, for sure.
I think the scene that made me like both fall in love with her and then kind of low key just dislike the pianist
Yeah.
is the arm wrestling scene.
Oh, yeah. He's such an ass.
And it's just like, yeah, because first off, you know what it reminded me of? Like those Twitter alpha males.
Oh, God. Yeah,
That's
100%.
that's that's what he reminded me of. And it's like, buddy, you are not the epitome of masculinity.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Like
That scene is crazy.
as a musician myself, I can say, buddy, you're a pianist.
Settle down.
Right.
Sit at the piano.
Right. Exactly. And then he's just like, well, you only won because you cheated. It's just like, damn, dude.
He's so
What?
intimidated by her.
And it's just like, you're a pianist. What did you expect?
I love that.
Like,
Coming for him.
but what I love about that scene is she just like owns him in the arm wrestle, and then she goes, "Okay, when do we start? Like, let's go solve
Yeah.
this mystery." I'm just like, "You get him." You know,
She's the best.
she's awesome. And then I thought she was gonna be, and she's like, "No, you beat me. You're gonna be out of the story for the next 20 minutes." Ugh. And I was just like, "Ay, ay, ay." And that kind of informed the rest of the film. But once the kills started happening, I'm like, okay, yeah,
This
this
is
is
fun, man.
brilliant. There's a lot of strong women in these, at least in these three Giallo films.
That's exactly why I love Giallo. There's always very strong female characters.
And I don't just mean like physically strong, because it's like you beat a pianist at an arm wrestle. Like it's not
Right.
like whoop-de-doo, but she is strong-willed. She's a go-getter.
Yes.
Also, people who play the piano are gonna come after me. So I shouldn't be saying, I shouldn't be talking smack. They could, if you play the piano, you could probably beat me up. Pianos are heavy and you have to lift them. You probably don't have to lift a piano, but
Probably not.
I'm just trying to avoid the I hate piano players allegations, which I don't. But no, she's a strong character. She's a go-getter. She doesn't take no for an answer, and she's smart and she's clever. In the Secret Vice of Mrs. Wardh, she's an iconic character.
She
She's
is.
very strong, and that was a film I watched first. So that was
Oh,
the one that
nice.
really set the tone.
Okay.
And I don't want to spoil too much. I don't want to spoil anything actually, because these movies have so many twists and turns.
They do.
And I'm just like, damn, I should have been taking notes.
Yeah, no, it's a lot. It's a lot of information.
But she's great. I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation, but Edwidge Fenech.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Oh shit!
Edwidge
Look at
Fenech.
me go.
Yeah. You did it.
She is awesome.
She is. She's all over my apartment. Like I have pictures of her everywhere.
That's
like
awesome.
like I have a picture of her up here in my dining room. I have two different Giallo posters for two different movies of hers. One is Strange Vice of Mrs. Wardh. The other one is Case of the Bloody Iris. And then there's a picture of her in my bathroom too. I love her. It's my favorite. This is my Giallo queen. She's been in many Jolly.
So she's kind of like the Jamie Lee Curtis of Gialli.
She is. She is.
What are some other films that she's been in? You just mentioned, I already lost it, something with the iris.
Yeah. The Case of the Bloody Iris.
These titles are
They're so
very
fun.
hard to remember.
No, yeah, because they're so wordy.
They are. They are. They're like little novellas.
Yeah, the titles are always crazy for Jolly. Like you'll know you're watching one because there's always like a color or an animal or a number in the title. It's always crazy. Like there is obviously the Case of the Bloody Iris, and then there's like 5 women for the killer. You know, there's all these like crazy names. Like I think the craziest one is this. Edwidge is also in this one. Your vice is a locked room and only I have the key. It's like insane.
Wait. Can you say that again?
Yeah. Your vice is a locked room and only I have the key.
Is this a film title or is it a threat?
It is a threat. Actually, little fun fact, they say this title in Strange Vice of Mrs. Wardh. It's actually on like one of the letters that she gets.
Oh, I must have. Well,
yeah.
I was going to say I missed it, but at the same time, I didn't know that title was a thing. So I probably didn't think anything of it.
Exactly.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
cool. I wrote it down somewhere, but there's this insane quote, which might be one of my favorite film quotes ever now. I wrote it down somewhere because I don't want to butcher it. You know what I'm saying?
I get you.
So I'm looking it up. This is not a spoil. It kind of is a spoiler and it kind of isn't, but out of context, I don't think it's going to spoil anything.
Okay.
And if it does, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This film is on Shudder, so it's easy to find. I think it's on Tubi as well if you don't have Shudder. So this film is pretty accessible, but I told you, the best possible time to get rid of someone is when there's a homicidal maniac on the loose.
Wait, what? You have to say it again.
I told you, the best possible time to get rid of someone is when there's a homicidal maniac on the loose.
Where is this from? This is from the movie?
It's from The Strange Vice of Mrs. Wardh.
Oh my God, I don't even remember that.
It's near the end. I don't want to say too much because it is literally the plot twist.
Oh, okay. I don't remember them saying that, but that's so funny.
I rewound it because I had 3 times because I had to be like, they said what? And then I had to make it my Letterboxd review.
I love that. Yeah, there's so much like ridiculous lines in these movies sometimes.
And also, is there a trend of like women fighting? Because I feel like I've seen that's a part of every single film of the 3 I've seen.
Women fighting?
Because in this one, in The Strange Vice of Mrs. Wardh, she's at a party with her current boo thing, and that's where she sees like her ex abusive partner, horrible guy. But at that party, it starts off and everyone's having a good time, and then these 2 girls, like, I forget exactly what happens, but one bumps into the other, and they're like, "Okay, let's fight now," and they're just fighting. They're just fighting in the party and like ripping each other's clothes off.
Oh yeah, that scene is so ridiculous. Yeah.
And people are just like, "Ha ha ha! I gotta love parties."
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that.
But yeah, so I was just like, okay.
Totally
and then,
normal.
And then in the Red Queen kills what's it called? The Red Queen kills 7 times.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole like motivation is these two sisters are just fighting.
Yes.
Like they've been at each other's throats their entire lives. And
Yeah.
it's hard because I want to dance. I don't want to spoil stuff, but in The Red Queen Kills 7 Times, the whole point of the movie is like, hey, here are these two sisters and they fucking hate each other's guts and they're always fighting.
Yes. There's a lot of tea.
And it's like when they're kids, they're like fighting and the one is grabbing for the knife. It's
Oh
just like,
yeah. It's like,
damn.
whoa.
And then it fast forwards and then they're like street fighting.
Yeah.
And it's just like, damn, y'all are adults now.
There's always a lot of drama in Jolly. And there's multiple different like dramas going on. There's multiple like there's so many subplots and like there's a lot going on. Affairs, all kinds of things. There's always so much going on other than the main plot. But it makes for a very interesting story when it's done well, because there are definitely some Jolly that like they get lost in the sauce and there's too much plot holes. But I think these three are really solid.
I did the Red Queen Kill 7 Times lost me a few times.
It's very crazy. That's fair.
And the end twist, which kind of goes hand in hand with the two sisters beating the shit out of each other. It's not one of those movie fights. It's like you're watching like one of the like you're scrolling through Twitter and all of a sudden there's just a random street fight on your timeline. It's like watching one of those, except they go even harder than that. And it's just like, what the hell?
Yeah. Always very dramatic.
And then Deep Red has we already talked about it, Gianna arm wrestling the pianist, which I guess that's not really women fighting, but it's close enough.
Close enough, yeah.
I don't know. That was just a really weird trend that I noticed.
That's so funny because I never noticed that before. Yeah,
the first two for sure. I think the third one, that's just kind of a stretch.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the Strange Vice of Mrs. Wardh. I think I liked the Red Queen Kills 7 Times the least out of the three. But I still liked it.
Yeah, that's valid. I've heard, people have mixed feelings on the Red Queen.
And I thought that one, so Halloween 2018?
Yeah, of course.
That film homages a kill from the Red Queen Kill 7 Times.
Oh my God, what is it?
So spoilers for both if you guys haven't seen. I'm assuming most of you listening have not seen the Giallo and have seen the Halloween 2018.
Probably.
A lot of you probably have seen the Giallo one, so I shouldn't be making assumptions about my listeners. I'm a bad podcaster. But anyways, if you haven't seen either, this is the spoiler, I guess, for both. But in Halloween 2018, where the kid he's best friends with Allison's boyfriend, and then he tries to smooch on Allison when they're walking away from the party, and then it has that really cool.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Michael Myers in the motion tracker.
The gate.
Impaled on the gate. Yeah.
Oh my God, gagged. Oh my God, I didn't even think of that. You know why? Maybe because I guess at the time when the Halloween 2018 came out, I wasn't into Giallo yet. I didn't even make that comparison. Oh my God.
I always thought it was a homage to The Omen, because The Omen has a scene where I can't remember I think it's Gregory Peck. Yeah, it's Gregory Peck. He gets his arm impaled on the gate when they're trying to escape the devil dogs.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
But then I go and watch the Red Queen Kill 7 Times, and it's exactly that.
Oh my God. David Gordon Green, Giallo fan?
It makes sense. It really does. And I think that shines through a lot in his Halloween trilogy, especially because, in my opinion, one of the best scenes, visual scenes of 2018 is where they have Michael killing Discount Loomis by like stomping his head in, which that's cinema right there.
Yes.
but they're lighting it with the police car lights. So they're bathing Michael in like flashing red and blue lights, and it's really cool and very like that very monocolor but bright, vivid color of Giallo.
I didn't think of that, but that's a good comparison.
So I think one could easily say David Gordon Green is a huge fan of Giallo. Or maybe I'm
Probably
just talking
is.
about my ass, talking up my ass. Like, I don't know the guy.
He could be, he could be a fan. I'm sure he's a fan of Argento. Most directors are.
Yeah, I think that's a safe
Yeah.
assumption. Or it's either that or like he's a fan of directors who were fans of Argento.
That could be.
But that being said, I think David Gordon Green is just old enough to just be a fan of Argento.
For sure.
Whereas, like, someone my age, I'd say, oh, I'm a fan of David Gordon Green, who's a fan of Argento, in addition to just being a fan of Argento.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if David Gordon Green would be like, obviously, he's a fan of John Carpenter, who's a fan of like John Ford and Alfred Hitchcock,
Yeah.
I got really happy when I saw that gate kill in The Red Queen Kills Seven Times because I did like the Leo point.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I regularly do the Leo point.
It's exciting because these are movies I've never seen before, but then I feel like I'm seeing like, even if I'm sure like most horror fans would know these films,
Mm-hmm.
but the mainstream person doesn't.
Right.
If I went to a random stranger and said, "Hey, what's your favorite Giallo film?" They're gonna look at me and be like, "What?"
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know. It's true.
I'd be like, in our horror community, with any social media, it can kind of become like an echo chamber. So it's like, oh, we know what Suspiria is,
Right.
but like the average person who probably only knows Halloween, Scream, and anything Jordan Peele does, they're gonna be like, Argent 2?
It is a niche. It's a very niche subgenre, I would say, for sure. And not
I
everybody's a fan of it, which is fine.
I do think it's kind of like an acquired taste
I think so too. It is.
because it's so surrealistic, and I can see why it can be off-putting. It
For
off-put
sure.
9-year-old me.
I mean, yeah. And there's also aspects to Jolly that you kind of have to accept that like things are ridiculous. Like there might be like subplots that make no sense, but because it's a Jollo, you're like, okay, yeah, I see why they did that. But it's like
Yeah.
if you're not the average Jollo watcher, it's kind of like you might just think it's stupid. Which is why, like, the movies that I chose for you to watch, I was really specific in adding one that was like kind of quintessential because I feel like Red Queen is kind of one of those ones that it is great, but there is so much stuff going on and there's so many different subplots. And that's one of the ones that, like, it does get a little bit lost in itself. And there are things that are not answered, and you're like, wait, what? So that one, I was like, I want to see what his thoughts are on that one because that one can be kind of divisive. And then Strange Vice is just like more surreal. So I wanted to
Yeah.
give you like more surreal too.
I really enjoyed your picks, so I'm excited
Yay.
to delve more into the subgenre, not Suspiria,
That's okay.
but definitely more Argento.
Good, good. You have to watch Tenebrae next.
Tenebrae, what is? Well, actually, I was about to ask you what it's about, but I don't want to know. I want to just go in blind.
You should. It's a good one, and it has Daria Nicolodi again.
Okay, I'm sold.
Yeah, she's actually in a lot of the ones that her and Argento did together.
Is she in Suspiria?
Oh my god, I haven't seen Suspiria in so long. I'm gonna look that up because I don't remember.
Because
She might be.
that might influence me conquering my fears.
I love that. That's so funny. Oh my god. Let's see. I don't watch Suspiria a lot. I've only seen it a total of 2 times. So
That makes sense to me.
she is in it, but it doesn't say who she plays.
Maybe it's like a smaller role.
Or wait, I wonder if Google just put her there because she's a part of because she
Oh,
she wrote the screenplay. So I don't think she's in there.
but she's a part
No.
of it. Like she was
Yeah.
behind the scene. Gotcha.
Yes. She wrote the screenplay with him, which I didn't know that. And then there's like the other one, I haven't seen it yet. Inferno. I think I think it's supposed to be like nobody quote me on here, but I think it's supposed to be kind of like a sequel to Suspiria. I haven't seen it yet, but I know that Daria Nicolodi like really wanted this movie to be made and she is in it. She does act in Inferno. I haven't seen it yet because I'm waiting for like the perfect like time to sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was very passionate about making Inferno and I know she had like a lot of say in like what went in the movie and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. So
Yeah.
Tenebrae is definitely on my
Oh
watch
yeah.
list.
She's amazing in Tenebrae. The ending
Ooh.
scene, you're gonna have to message me after.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
I will.
it's so good. I think you're gonna love it for sure.
I mean,
And it has a great soundtrack from Goblin again.
I really dug their score in Deep Red.
Yeah. The
I
the
was
Tenebrae
digging
one
that.
is really good too.
And I don't know who did the score for The Strange Vice of Mrs. Wardh, but I thought that one was pretty good too,
I love that one.
especially at the end.
Yeah. Oh
Like,
my God. I think it's I don't know how to say his name actually. I think his last name is Miracone.
wait,
But
wait, wait. Ennio? Ennio
yeah,
Morricone?
yeah, yeah. He did Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward. I'm pretty sure.
What?
I'm gonna
That
look it
dude's a
up.
legend.
So I've heard. I think he did.
No,
Oh,
it's Nora Orlandi.
no. Wait, no, but he did do some for Jolly. Maybe Red Queen?
I believe you because he's Italian. He did a lot of the spaghetti westerns. So like the great
Mm,
ones like The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, Once Upon a Time in the West. Those kind of westerns, A Fistful of Dollars, like a lot of those Clint Eastwood spaghetti westerns with
yes.
I forget the iconic director's name. Oh no, film Twitter's gonna crucify me when this episode comes out. But I mean he's Italian. So
He is. No, he did do a score for something. Because I saw his name on one of the Jolly I watched. I guess it's none of these because Red Queen is somebody else. It's Bruno Nicolai.
uh,
I don't remember, but when you look up his name and you look up Giallo, there's a soundtrack collection that pops up.
he's
So
I'm sure he's done so many.
yeah.
That dude was a legend and he's made so many Sergio Leone, that's the Western director.
Oh.
I couldn't think of his name, but he's done so much. His Wikipedia. Okay, okay. They have a whole section, Giallo and horror, on the Ennio
Mm.
Morricone Wikipedia page.
Oh, okay.
And he's done The Bird with the Crystal Plumage,
That's an Argento.
The Cat O' Nine Tails,
Also Argento.
uh Four Flies on Gray Velvet,
Argento.
Nightmare Castle, The Antichrist, Unknown Woman, Forbidden Photos of a Lady Above Suspicion.
That's where
That's
I saw his name.
that's fun to
That's
say.
yeah, I love that movie too. That's a good Giallo too.
Holy shit, you're not kidding with these titles. A Lizard in a Woman's Skin.
That one I don't love as much, but I've seen it.
I like the title.
The title's great, and I love the cover too. It's just unfortunate like the movie just didn't vibe with me.
The Black Belly of the Tarantula.
I love that one.
These are Cold Eyes of Fear sounds like a James Bond movie to me.
That does. That does. It sounds like an action movie for sure.
He's done a bunch. It's all these great titles, and then there's Autopsy, where
Oh,
I'm
I've
like,
heard of that.
well, I'm just like, that's a one-word Giallo film. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, there are those. There are those. Yes. They're a little more rare though.
I guess Suspiria would be, as someone who hasn't seen Suspiria, I'm gonna count it because it's colorful and it's Argento.
I feel like it tethers the line enough that we can get away with calling it that. You can come for me in the comment section.
So I got to watch Tenebrae. And one I hear a lot about, I think it's Giallo. Maybe I'm confusing it, but Blood in Black Lace.
Yes, it is a Giallo.
Okay, that's one I need to watch too, I think.
That's also like, yeah, for sure. That's also like a quintessential along the lines of like Deep Red. That one's
Gotcha.
from Mario Bava. That one is very fashionable, very beautiful. Ridiculous, but like very beautiful. You can't look away.
Okay, that one sounds fun. So I'm very excited to continue my Giallo journey.
Yay.
If you had to pick one off the top of your head, what would be your favorite Giallo film at this moment?
At this moment, if you would have asked me that like a year ago, I would have said The Red Queen. But at this moment, with the amount of times I've seen this movie, just because like I love watching this movie to study because I'm actually like trying to work on my own Giallo.
Iconic.
Thank you. I'm so passionate about this subgenre and I just like want to bring it back. Like we need to have more modern Jolly. My favorite is definitely Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
I thought that one
Just
had a great story, great acting from all the actors, I think. And the ending is just so fucking rad.
it is. It is. Yeah, I love that one.
I think that's a great pick. So the title of this podcast is called Would You Die? And normally I ask my guest, depending on the topic they pick, would they die? Like a lot of times it's like, would you die if you came across the xenomorph? And usually the answer is like, yeah, it's a xenomorph. Or
Right.
Jason Voorhees. Like, yeah. It's pretty easy. Easy to say I ain't surviving Mikey My. So but I'm struggling to figure out a way, and it's on me. I should have thought of this like not in the moment. Sometimes I forget to ask this question. It's oops, my bad. But if you found yourself in a Giallo film, not not the one you're making, but like real life Giallo,
Yeah.
would you die?
See, I don't want to say like the cockiest answer. Like, I feel like personally, with the fact that most of the time, and even if it is real life, most of the time, the Jollo killers are kind of stupid and messy. Like, I just think that I could outsmart the killer. And I'm
And
pretty good at fighting. Like, I really think like I could beat his ass.
well, you are an expert.
It's true.
You are an expert. I know this. I know this from doing my homework and from this conversation. I didn't know you were a fighter. That also comes
I
into
love fighting.
play. That also comes into play. So I believe you.
Thank you.
I believe you. I would say you would definitely survive. Me, on the other hand, not a chance. I would die.
It's okay. I have a question. How would you like to go? How stylish do you want your death to be in said Jalo?
Well, they're all look so painful.
They do. They
They
do.
they all look so painful. Like they really I feel like those Giallo killers are sadistic, even
They
more
are.
so than Jason and Freddy.
They are.
Like,
They really are.
but also Jason is Jason and he kills too quickly sometimes
That's true.
because he's a big, strong dude with like who could kill you with anything. The Giallo killers are not nearly as strong as Jason. So like Jason can punch your head off. A Giallo killer has to bash you around an entire room before you
Yes.
die. And then that one dude saw a puppet beforehand. That was freaky. I would definitely hate that death. So I really don't want that. I
No
think
puppets.
no, because that's freaky. I also
For
think
sure.
I heard a interview with James Wan. I love James Wan, by the way, where he said Deep Red was one of his favorite films. And now having seen it, I see it.
For
I see it
sure.
throughout his filmography now.
Especially in Malignant. It's
Oh yeah,
it's very Jala
and e-
inspired.
and even in Saw, like
Oh
the
yeah.
monotone colors in Saw,
Yeah.
the puppet.
Yeah. So true. And like the detectives and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Malignant for sure. And I fucking love Malignant.
Me too.
This is a Malignant safe podcast. Haters, you're gonna hate. That's okay, because we got the power of Malignant on our side. Gabriel Stan right here.
Love Malignant.
But yeah, how would I die in a Giallo?
It's a tough question.
I feel like okay, I'm gonna set up the scene. I'm gonna set up the
Oh,
scene. Because I'm the main character in my own story, right? So
exactly. You
for
are.
s- for some reason, I'm going to be investigating a Giallo killer.
Yes.
Mr.
Yes, you're the main character. The protagonist
Mis-
always witnesses a murder.
Mr. Giallo. And I witnessed something like spooky, something horrific, and I'm like, my first instinct would be to move to the other side of the country because fuck that shit. Nope, I'm
Right.
out. But that's expensive. I can't afford it. So, in the act of self-preservation, I'm going to try and figure out what's going on. And as one does in a giallo, I'm going to find myself a strong female sidekick who wants to get down to the nitty gritty and figure out what's going on. But I am going to get butthurt because she beats me in an arm wrestling contest. And, I can't abide by that. So I write her out of my story immediately
Okay.
because, because how rude. It's my story. And then the Giallo killer gets me because it's 2024 and we don't got time for that insecure
Valid.
bullshit.
Valid. I love it.
So now the strong independent investigator is the main character and she probably figures it out.
I love that. She would figure it out.
So that would be my Giallo story. So hopefully I never see a figure in a long black coat with a fancy hat. They don't all have hats, but
Not all of them.
they have like the leather
Always,
gloves.
yes. Yeah.
So hopefully I never see a Giallo killer do his Giallo thing because
Yeah, none of that.
I just wouldn't survive. Sorry, that was like a whole like I
No,
was
I
just
love
kind
it.
of
That was
writing
great.
in my head. And then I was gonna go through a whole plot, but then I realized I made an error. I'm like, okay, I just written myself off. Because as a screenwriter, once I write that character, having seen Deep Red, I'm just like, well, I don't want that character to go far.
Exactly.
So that would be my Giallo movie. Thank you so much for being on the show. This has
Of
been so
course.
much fun. You have a really awesome YouTube channel. Can you tell people who are maybe watching or listening to you for the first time at this very moment what your channel is all about?
Sure. Yeah, my YouTube channel, Sweet and Spooky. Everything is pink and girly. Love horror movies. I obviously focus a lot on the subgenre giallo. I love telling people about the subgenre, trying to get new people into it. I specifically like highlighting independent horror filmmakers on my channel. So I do a lot of list videos about underrated horror films, where to stream them. I have a lot of fun streams. I do a stream every other month called Table Screams, where me and a bunch of my friends, we get a horror movie script of your choice and we do a table read, but we act it all out and we do all crazy voices and it's super fun. And sometimes we have blood and props and we go all out. So it's super fun. And I also do regular streams, like I do watch alongs and things like that. I'm your girl for horror movies. Come through, say hi.
Hell yeah. And where are some of the other social medias thingies that people can find you?
On Twitter, or sorry, I have to say X. Ew. Um, I'm just gonna say
Yeah.
Twitter. On
I
Twitter,
always say Twitter.
yeah, I'm not saying X.
I'm sorry. I'm older than the age of 12. I'm saying Twitter.
I haven't said X since they changed it. Um,
Yeah, like
On there, it's just sweet and spooky, and it's not and, it's with an N, like sweet and low. And then Instagram is sweet and spooky official. So that's where to find me. Oh, also Letterboxd, follow me, sweet and spooky. That's it.
Awesome. Make sure you guys follow my friend Selis, and this has been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Thanks again to Selis for joining me today and for introducing me to the wonderful world of GIALLO. I had so much fun making this episode, and I hope you guys really enjoyed listening to it as well. In case you guys missed it, the Patreon is back. That's right. If you really want to support this podcast, you can help me directly by subscribing to the Patreon. I retooled it so it's only $3 a month, and you'll get exclusive content and live streams for patrons only. If you like this show, please let me know. Leave a review and rate on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever you listen to this show. Also, feel free to interact with me on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you're most comfortable. It may not seem like a lot, but trust me, every single like, share, comment, and follow helps this podcast grow and helps keep me going. And feel free to let me know how I'm doing. What do you guys like about the show? What are some areas I can improve? Guests you'd like me to have on? Monsters you want me to talk about? Let me know what you guys think. A reminder, I just became an affiliate for FANGORIA, one of the premier brands in horror. I definitely recommend checking out their magazine and even subscribing. And if you decide to do that, don't forget to use the promo code WoodYouDieShow for 20% off your entire order. You can find the show's social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at WoodYouDieShow. Also, now you can follow me on TikTok at Would You Die Podcast. Would You Die is a partner with the Three Wise Men Media, a Metro Detroit-based group of awesome guys, Kyle, Tyler, and Dylan, where they bring you professional wrestling, indie comic books, and so much more. The music you hear in the beginning and end of each episode is composed by my friend Josie Palmer. Next week, we are talking about the biggest monster around, and if everything goes right, we should see the first video essay on the YouTube channel. Until next time, I'm Austin Torres. Try not to die.